Okay, welcome to the weekly call on the 22nd of October 2023. So there weren't any questions or pairs requested, so I might go through some extra ones as well, just in case maybe people didn't have time to send through what they wanted. But I'm just going to go through the main ones that I'm looking at for this week, and I'm just going to keep it to 4 pairs, don't need to overtrade. I'm just going to be looking at AUD USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, and USD CAD. So there will be correlation between them, obviously, because they're all USD pairs, so that's something to note. Don't over leverage. But hopefully if you trade one of these pairs, all you need is one pair. You should be good to go. So based on the feedback I got, I am going to be looking more at lower time frame trades. I'll still give the higher time frame bias, and that's going to help me get lower time frame trades to share with you. So hopefully you can learn if that's something you want to do, more scalping. So I'm just going to start on the weekly now. That's going to be the main difference. Monthly is maybe a bit too high, and there's not normally much to see on that time frame. So first thing I see on the weekly is that even though we had this change in market structure from bullish to bearish, we have had a sweep of this liquidity here, and that seems to be holding. After not last week, but the week before it, I was a bit unsure of where price is going to go because liquidity being swept on this side with this wick and on this side with this wick in this week. But now last week closed bullish, and my bias is now going to be to continue upwards because swept liquidity here, and it looks like we're going to continue up. So that's what I see on the weekly. And something else I'm going to do that is good to mark out. I'm just going to mark out the previous week's high and low. So this is always something that's useful to do. I haven't been doing it much, but I'm going to experiment with it and see if I can refine it for you and maybe produce a strategy based on it. Hopefully that'll be helpful for you if you're struggling to find that mechanical way to actually trade. But I'm just going to mark up those week highs for now. And I can also mark up this weekly high just as another target point. So then if I go down to the daily, what you'll see is market structure's changed. We've got this liquidity sweep, and then price changed market structure up here, got change character, closed above this high, had a pullback. Now my kind of bias is that we're going to continue up, so taking out this last week's high and also the high from the week before it. And I'm going to look for any PD arrays on the daily time frame. So the only one that was here was this bearish imbalance and supply zone, but it doesn't look like it's being respected. We had lots of mitigations of it. If you're looking at the supply zone, you got this area here, and what you can see, you get one tap in, another tap in, and another tap in, and we're getting higher and higher each time, which shows that a lot more sell orders are getting filled, and then maybe there is enough sell orders to counter the buy orders that were placed. And that's the only really PD array that I see on the daily time frame. Liquidity resting above there, maybe some liquidity resting below here, and I will go down to the 4 hour to have a better look. So I said maybe there's liquidity resting here, and while that is true, the thing I see on the 4 hour time frame is that liquidity below this low was swept. So I'll remove that PD array because I don't have a bearish bias, so I'm not interested in that. What you can see here, price change of character, price is now bullish. Liquidity resting below these lows, and price swept it before closing above here. So for me, what this confirms is that this low is now a strong low. So it's not likely that it's going to be hit and liquidity swept below. So if price comes below this point, then it's likely that it's going to continue lower, hitting the previous week's low and potentially even going lower. So hopefully you've been following that. This is the previous week's low, previous week's high. I'm on the 4 hour time frame, and my bias is bullish. So I'm looking for PD arrays now on the 4 hour time frame, and you can see there's this bullish imbalance here, and also the supply zone, I guess you could demand on that you can mark up as well. Just this last bit of selling before the buying, but this whole area here is basically what I'm going to be looking for: a pullback and then push up. So my main bias, if I just mark it out with an arrow, I'm going to be looking for a pullback to this imbalance, and then maybe a lower time frame on the 5 minute entry to take price up to this high. That's what I'm going to be looking for the week. And if I get a nice setup in here on a lower time frame, then I'll send it through. But if I don't, look out for yourself. You'll be able to learn. Maybe take a practice trade on the demo account to actually learn what it's like to execute trades in the market. But go to the 5 minute, look for a liquidity sweep of the Asian low in the London kill zone maybe, and use that as your method for entry to take price up to here, or just the Asian highs. Your bias is bullish, but you don't need to target these highs. That's effectively what I'm going to be looking for. The alternative, which I'm not looking for, but I'll just watch anyway, is price to maybe come down below this low, react from this breaker block, and then continue to take out these lows here. So you could try and get an entry in there. If price pushes down, then the next day maybe you look for the Asian highs to get swept into this zone, and then change your character and target these lows. So either way, I'll send my thoughts through on the lower time frames when it happens, but just what I'm watching. Then we can move on to GBP USD. No, similar, I've already marked it out, but I will get rid of it. So on the weekly time frame, I will just mark up the previous week's highs and lows as points to get taken in the next week. And as for PD arrays on the weekly time frame, we had this new week opening gap. So when there's a gap in the closing price of this week and the opening price of this week, it's called a new week opening gap, and price will often fill it and then reverse from. So for me, my bias again is bullish. Going down to the daily time frame then, looking for PD arrays here, and the main one that I see is also this little imbalance here, but that's been filled now. It got filled, got tapped into there, and it's been fully filled over here, so that's fine. The main thing I'm looking for is this imbalance over here. So I'll mark it with a rectangle block rather than lines, but this imbalance as a place to target right above the previous week's highs. So that's a very nice place to target. There's liquidity resting above the week's highs, and there's also a draw on liquidity with this imbalance and supply zone. So a very nice target there. Going down to the 4 hour then, what I can see is not much. There's no clear entries, no clear pullback to an entry. The only thing that I could possibly see is maybe there's a hidden order block here, and then some order flow with another hidden order block here. So maybe a low time frame pullback, and then push up to the high. So that would be my bias for the next week. Looking for, even if we don't get pullback here, just looking for a buy setup, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can ignore Monday, that might be the liquidity sweep, and then Tuesday you normally get a change of direction for the week, and we can look to target these highs. So again, if I just mark up my bias, going to be looking for something like this, target those highs, and we'll see how that plays out. But hopefully that will make sense. You've got liquidity resting above here as well, so very nice bullish bias. And also if we just zoom out a bit, you can see liquidity over here was swept. This stuff here, all of it was swept by these lows, by this wick here that took out liquidity, pushed up, pulled back, and that looks like we're going up again. So we'll see what Monday it does, and then we can look to get in a trade on Tuesday or whenever, or Monday if we do get a good setup. So then on to USD CAD, I'll go back up to the weekly, see what's going on here, and the main thing, price is bullish. And even though we had this weak candle with a liquidity sweep, a huge wick, that's what I mean by that, we now look to be pushing up again. So I'll mark up the previous week's highs and lows, as always, but I'll also mark up the high over there as a further potential target, because it's likely that if we take out these highs, then we're going to take out these highs as well. And there is also this weekly demand zone that could be a future target, and also the imbalance. So just a couple of things to look out for. Could be a reaction off there before moving up, or we could take out liquidity up here and then target this area of imbalance. But then going down to the daily, we'll see what is going on here. So price was pushing up, had a pullback, and then a break of minor structure in here, but looks bullish, strong push up, liquidity sweep down here. Whether or not we'll get a pullback before the push up, we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, there's no really PD arrays that speak out to me on the daily, so I'll go down to the 4 hour. And what I was watching, this is where I took a previous trade from, if you'll remember from the watch list, looking to go short from this zone, and we got a very nice tap in originally over there. But unfortunately there weren't enough sell orders in this supply zone, even though it looked very nice and fit all the criteria. So price wasn't able to push down and take out these lows where I was targeting, and instead it mitigated the zone again and now pushed further into the zone. So it's likely that it's actually going to be taken, and price is going to continue up, stop me out of this trade. But hopefully we can get another trade. So what I'm looking for on USD CAD is a pullback into this demand zone before taking price higher. And this is a nice setup on the 4 hour, so I don't need lower time frame confirmation, and I will send this through just for extra logging of my trades and to help you out. So I'll look for something like this, And if price goes up before, then I can adjust my take profit to either up here or just wherever, we'll see. But for now, 1 to 4.36% trade, so hopefully we get pulled back and then price goes up and it hedges our trade that I'm currently short in. And then finally going on to AUD USD, this is similar setup. I'll get rid of everything and do the analysis again for you. If we start on the weekly time frame, get rid of all of that. You can see we're pushing down. We had a lot of consolidation, a lot of wicking over here on both sides. But if we look for the currently, we see 2 weeks ago we had a strong upper wick, and last week we also had a strong upper wick, so it's likely that these lows are going to be taken. And again, when there's lows nearby to our current week low, we can mark it up as well. So I will also mark up this, and then go down to the daily to look for any PD arrays. And what you can see is that not only did we react off this previous daily supply zone, we also reacted off a more recent one. So over here, just tapped into it and then we turned it down again. So my expectation is to take out liquidity down here. So that's my draw on liquidity for the coming week. Other than that, not really any PD arrays. So we go down to the 4 hour. The main thing you can see is there is actually this imbalance here. But I want to refine, get a nice entry, so I'm going to look for the order block above that imbalance. The order blocks are high probability when there's imbalance below it, and there's also a nice bit of inducement here. There's going to be liquidity resting above this point here. So I will look to set limits on this supply zone. Hopefully we get a pullback, and then we can go short and target the liquidity. So start by just targeting the previous week's low for 1 to 4.2. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. And obviously, if you prefer, you can look for a lower time frame entry, either just above these highs or into the zone. So, price might just come into the imbalance, and you can get a lower time frame entry there, or you might want to be patient and wait for price to tap into the supply zone. But that's all the pairs that I'm watching for this week. If you do have any questions or pairs that you want me to look at that you didn't have a chance to ask before this weekly call, then do let me know, and I'll make another video on that for you and send my analysis through. And if you have any questions throughout the week, or any videos you want me to do more in-depth topics on, like the educational ones I've already done, then do just let me know. And yeah, have a good trading week.